During the State of Play, not only did we get a official release date of Stellar Blade, which is not going to be so stellar since it's still a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and it's going to be open world. So all that autistic arguing about games being open world equals automatically bad, it's going to be a fucking fun time. Just like when Gear 6 was announced to be open world. Open world games are not correct anymore unless your name is fucking Elden Ring. One of the games that was announced at the State of Play was Silent Hill 2. And safe to say, a lot of people weren't really impressed for whatever reason. When Resident Evil 2 Remake was revealed quite some time ago, it essentially was just Resident Evil 4 but in third person and removing the whole fixed camera ordeal that Resident Evil has been known for since its very inception. And considering that Silent Hill 2 is a very beloved horror game by fans of the horror genre, wouldn't the ideal logic of this game to go third-person combat game like Resident Evil 4? The very idea of this game existing is about as relevant as the Dead Space remake. And before someone tries to say that I'm being a piece of shit because, God forbid, I compare apples to oranges, these games do not need to exist. The original Silent Hill 2 has a PC port, believe it or not, and if you don't want to bother emulating it or buying a PS2 disc and using your disc drive to play the fucking thing, or verifying that you bought the game and downloading an ISO that you spent money on, something like Amazon or your local retro game store or whatever, you could still play Silent Hill 2 and have that morality justification in check. But the thing is with Dead Space, I still firmly believe what I said in that rant. And no, it's not just because of the gender bathroom bullshit. It has everything to do with the fact that EA not only shut down the original developers of Dead Space, and let's just ignore the sequels for a second. We're talking about purely the people who made Dead Space. You know how Sony's doing the very same thing with Gravity Rush and the movie? That is almost exactly how I feel about the Dead Space remake. EA taking an IP that isn't even fucking theirs and putting their own version into it, and yet people are perfectly fine with it because it's still a good game and didn't stray away much from the source material. You fucking retards are exactly why gaming is dead, then you get mad at others for saying gaming is dead. But honestly, I don't believe the answer is to just remake everything under the fucking sun and expect it to work. Not everything is going to be as successful as the likes of Crash and Spyro, and even if there were to be something as decent as the Medieval remaster, you people still complain, so fuck you. So I got into a little beef about this very topic, because I have no fucking idea why, and quite frankly, I'm sick of this shit. Again. So, I'm gonna make my stance on this. Knowing that the people who haven't made Silent Hill 2 before, with maybe the exception of the artist and the composer, this game being developed by Konami has about as much relevance as Doom Eternal being developed by id Software, especially since both are a name only, and before someone tries to correct me that this game is actually being developed by another company and not Konami, let's just say that the people who actually are developing Silent Hill 2 Remake is not even that well liked, so I don't want to fucking hear that I'm not gendering the correct developer of a fucking game like people did to me with fucking Balan Wonderworld. Apparently morals don't matter when it comes to games being developed. Which is exactly why there's been plenty of cases of developers being such shitty assholes to the point that people aren't going to buy their games. Especially when it comes to EA, or Activision, or Blizzard, or any other fucking company under the fucking sun. It just matters that the game is good. I personally have no interest in Silent Hill at all. I have absolutely no nostalgia of it besides seeing the fucking advertisement, this one to be specific, when reading the Metal Gear Solid manual. I have absolutely no interest in Silent Hill. I have no interest in the fucking soulless remake, which we can't wait for that fucking autistic video to come out, only for the person who made that video to completely do a 180 because, God forbid, people actually have something to say about that. Seriously. I cannot even fathom to think that people would give Resident Evil 4 Remake of all games a fucking Game of the Year award. It's already a remake of a game that's pretty much the same shit from 2004. And before someone tries to go, actually, it's totally different from the original. It has this and this and this and this, when it's just pretty much the same shit. You're still fighting zombies in Spain. You're still protecting Ashley and her fucking censored goodness that people simp for, but get mad if you try to simp for her, which is fucking retarded. You still have the shitty sequences from the original that don't need to fucking be there. There might be one or two improvements over the original, but it's still the same old fucking shit, as a certain low-tier god would say. Personally, one of my favorite quotes from him, by the way, in case you're wondering. It's just funny. If you're mad about Silent Hill 2 Remake, you should be mad about Resident Evil 2 Remake for essentially turning into Resident Evil 4. Seriously, you fucking to say that Resident Evil 4 is the greatest game of all time, but hate anything after it, is why you got Silent Hill 2 Remake in the way that Resident Evil 2 Remake did to begin with. Every discourse I see of Resident Evil 5 and 6 saying that, oh, it's just not as good as Resident Evil 4, but Resident Evil 4 is so fucking outdated it's not even funny. And then you get a remake of a game that didn't even need to be remade. So, wouldn't that mean that Resident Evil 4, by your logic, means that's perfect and doesn't need to be remade? If people think that 5 and 6 are the absolute worst games in the fucking series, when, personally, I don't think Resident Evil 5 controls all that better, but it has much more better replay value, and 6, despite having the fucking story go down in the fucking dumps, it actually refines the gameplay. Kind of like what Twisted Metal 3 and 4 did, except Capcom had the helm of ruining it, whereas 989 Studios, known for sports games and nothing else, pretty much ruined Mr. Jaffe's work. One IP is already dormant even when it was alive, and the other is still very much well alive. Maybe it should just be left alive. Yeah, we don't talk about that bullshit, but remember, Square is doing just fine. I have my reasons for not wanting to play games, whether it's for games like Elden Ring, where I'm just sick of the Soulsborne formula and games that don't need to fucking need it, and is also the case with something like Lies of P. I just generally don't give a fuck. People can't even make up their minds if it's as good as Bloodborne or not. It's basically just edgelord Pinocchio from the looks of it. And whatever else out there, was it the Lords of the Fallen reboot? That's pretty much turned into fucking obscure bullshit. But oh, it has multiplayer, so it's worthwhile now. Yeah, big fucking whoop. They basically tried to do Flashpoint, but then it just became obscure again. Or even the case like Dead Space Remake, where I have absolutely no interest in playing a game made by a shitty company who already had shut down the original developers to do so. And before someone tries to bring in the Demon Souls remaster, how about people actually fucking play the game first and not just judge it because some YouTuber said the game looks like shit, so the whole game is fucking shit? Seriously, if you're gonna go after me for not wanting to play a certain game, don't be that person who parrots an opinion because you've heard it. I'll admit that there are some opinions that I have heard from other people and have made it that general consensus. Like how people used to say back in the day that if Nintendo Power told you a game was shit, it was shit. Case in point, Dark Lord Shadow 1 made a very awesome Left Alive review. I haven't gotten around to playing it, but I too fell for the marketing bullshit. And damn well knowing how informative the dude is, it's safe to say the game is a pile of shit, and the fact that Square developed it is just really shitty. Or whether I just don't have any interest in some games, period. Just because I don't have interest in some games does not mean that I automatically hate it. Even if something like Hades, for example, or Hades, whatever the fuck, the game that's only talked about because of its visuals, being a isometric game with roguelike whatever elements in the game, I have no real interest in playing it, but since I got that as a Christmas gift and have reacquired it, I don't even feel like talking about that part I just mentioned now. Maybe it could be something I might like, but I still consider Crypt of the Necrodancer and Streets of Rogue to be my favorite of the genre, even though I don't have much interest in the genre itself. It's mainly to do with the gameplay loop that both have to offer. Or even in some games I do like, Far Cry Primal, there are some things in the game I don't care for. The hunter vision is kind of shittily designed, and just because I have the gall to complain about it means that the whole game is fucking bad. You people want to call me patronizing or pessimistic or disingenuous. Well, it's not exactly favorable to pretty much label my opinions on certain games as being shitty altogether just because I happen to find things I disagree with, even if some things I don't like don't completely ruin the game. Okay? I like to make rants, but I do not like to make rants like this, where I actually have actual anger talking about something that I have enjoyment with, but people have to ruin it for me by getting on my case about some things when those people are no better. Next thing you know, I'm going to lose friendships because I don't like Modern Doom. Well, too bad. I don't care for Silent Hill 2. And even if it were to be respectful, like with what AVGN did with his Ghostbusters video, people are going to give me shit for it anyway, so fuck it. Next time you want to say morals don't matter in a video game, how about the people who make the next Halo game by 343, or the next Blizzard game, or even the next published game by Activision or Square or EA or whatever developer publisher is known to be really shitty mistreats their employees. Okay, this shit is just really dumb to get on my case about when I have very good reasons to not want to play certain games, whether they make sense to you or not, but I have my reasons, and if you can't respect that, then you don't respect me as a person, and I do not want to ever talk to you ever again.